Are you a Fargo, North Dakota homeowner who's lived in your house for 30 or 40 years? Or maybe you just bought your first house and you're thinking of selling your first house and you're just not really sure what that process really even looks like? You're in the right place. In this video, I'm going over the 10-step process to sell your home for top dollar in the quickest way possible here in Fargo, North Dakota. Welcome back. I'm Sykora, your Fargo real estate agent. And if you're considering selling your home sometime in the next 3, 6, or 9 months here in Fargo, you can reach me through the link in the description and check out my free selling guide, which will also be linked in the description below. So let's jump right into this video breaking down the 10 steps to selling your home here in Fargo, North Dakota. And the first and the most important step of them all is to determine why you're selling your home or why you're considering selling your home in the first place. There's so many different situations that occur that help you determine what your selling goals are and how you need to approach selling your home. You know, obviously, a lot of people, they need to sell a home and buy a home. Do you need those to match up at the exact same time to be able to carry over that equity? Or are you downsizing? Or are you trying to get rid of a house that you inherited from a family member? There's so many different situations with selling a house that are really, really different of how you need to approach them. And of course, if you're, for example, one of those people who needs to sell a house because you're already under contract on your next house, you need to take a more aggressive strategy compared to you're someone who, yep, maybe you'll sell your house if you get the right number, you're considering it, but you're not moving into somewhere else. You can sell for maybe a higher number or it can go more aggressive. So you just need to determine what your goals are when selling your house before you list it, because, you know, what if you sell it right away and you have nowhere to go? You need to get a step-by-step process put together, which is part of the reason how I come in as a real estate agent to help you determine those factors and determine what is best practice for you. But you need to know ahead of time so you're not surprised down the road. So you know how the process works and so you're ready to move forward confidently when selling your home or not selling your home here in Fargo. Now, this next step is actually probably one of the most important steps to selling your home that people overlook all the time. And this is the prep you need to put into your house before you actually put it on the market. So you can't just, take your stuff out of your house, throw some pictures online and you list it. That's not how it works. You need to get your house ready to sell. Do you need your house to be staged? Stage homes sell 17% faster than non-stage homes. Do you need to add fresh paint to your house? Do you need to boost the curb appeal a little bit? Add some new carpet? Those sort of things. Those boost a home's appeal to buyers by a ton. Because you got to think of it. If there's two houses that, let's say it costs $5,000 to put carpet in one house. So one house is listed at $245,000 and it needs new carpet, so $5,000 for new carpet. Another house is listed at $250,000, but it has all brand new carpet. The carpet's all already done and the flooring looks amazing. Which house is a buyer more likely to choose? It's the one that the work's already done. Because instead of putting $5,000 in and all this work, they can just move in and the house is ready to be lived in right away. Or even, what if two houses are priced the exact same? One has brand new carpet and one doesn't. Which one are you going to choose? Because that's what you always need to think about when you're selling your house is how can I position my home to be the best option for all the buyers looking in the market right now? Because you're going to have competition when selling your home. There's going to be a house listed down the street. There's going to be a house listed in another neighborhood that is very similar. How can you stand out and make your house the obvious choice? Because ultimately, that's what you want as a seller, because then you're going to have multiple people interested in your property and you're going to get multiple offers. And that is how you get the best price and terms possible when selling your home, is having multiple offers. Because if you sit on the market for 8 months and you have nobody and someone finally comes along to buy your house, I guarantee they're not coming in full price. So you want to make sure you position your home correctly in the market to make sure it sells and just to get your home ready to sell, to make it appeal to those buyers who are looking and touring homes in the area. Now, the next thing you still need to do before you actually put your home public, there's a lot of steps of listing a house and selling a house that happen before it even goes public, before it goes on Zillow, before it goes on MLS, all that sort of stuff. This all happens beforehand. There's a lot of preparation that goes into selling a house, and if it's not done properly, you can lose out on tens of thousands of dollars when selling. This next one is just having all your disclosures, all the paperwork, and having your update sheets complete. So when you're selling a home, you want to say, hey, if I replaced the furnace 2 years ago, I want to tell people that. If you did new landscaping, you want to tell people that. You want people to know the updates of your home, because that's, again, look at the competition. How is your home going to stand out against those other houses? That is what's going to make it stand out. Then also just your disclosures, how long have you lived in the house? Have you done any updates? Has there been any problems with the house? All this sort of thing. Those all need to be filled out before your house is actually listed to make sure you're prepared. Again, prepared for when your house does hit the market. You can move efficiently, quickly, and you don't need to be trying to do all this stuff at the same time while you're trying to negotiate an offer when selling your home. Now, along with this too, interviewing real estate agents, talking to real estate agents if you're going to list with an agent or if you're going to go for sale by owner, whatever it is. This is a point, talk to them whenever throughout this process. I like people when they talk to me as soon as possible so I can help give them advice, help them through the process, help refer them to, you need a carpet guy, you need a cleaner, you need a contractor, whatever that is. And if that sounds like you're considering it, you can reach out. My phone number and email address is on the screen now. But you want to make sure you're prepared early. That's the main thing I want to harp in this video. I've already talked about it 50 times already. You're going to say I talk about it another 100 times. But be prepared, and you got to know your motivations. Why are you even moving or thinking of moving in the first place? Because that's going to drive the deciding factors when you do sell your home. Now, next up, this is a big thing that I do as an agent to help you sell your home, is to have all your marketing ready to go before it actually goes live. This is another step before the house actually goes live. There's 4 steps that you need to do when selling your home before it goes on the actual market. This one is just professional photography, videography, virtual tours, virtual floor plans. This is all stuff that I have done before your home actually goes on the market. So then when it does ultimately go on the market, we can blast it out to everywhere, all social medias, so everybody can see it, and to get more tours, more people interested, more offers ultimately on your home is what our goal is. So to have that professional photography, videography, small staging, that sort of thing, all done beforehand is the next step to getting your home sold. Now, this is one of the biggest things that people talk about when selling their home, and for good reason. This is selling your home and deciding what price you want to sell your home at. Homes that are priced accurately here in Fargo-Moorhead will sell for 18% higher on average than homes that are not priced correctly. Now you may think, okay, well maybe I want to test the market a little bit at a little bit higher number to see if I can get that. Well, I would advise against that, because if your home, say your house is worth $250,000, you're like, okay, let's test at $265, see if we get any interest, any offers, anything. So you put it on for $265, then 3 weeks later you drop it down to $250. Your house has been on the market for 3 weeks already. You lost your negotiating power, because your negotiating power is in having multiple people interested in your property, multiple people going after your property, then bidding up each other all the way up to where you want to be and where the best offer is at, the highest and best offer. You're losing that when you do that, because then, all those buyers are gone in that first 3 weeks because they're like, this is overpriced. Maybe we'll come back later if they drop a price, or we'll go keep looking. Then they find another house they like that's down the street because the neighbor's house is priced right compared to yours that's priced high. This is why pricing is so essential when listing your home for sale, to determine if you can come out on top or if you don't. That is why it's so important. Now we can look at another scenario where you do it the right way. So let's say your house is listed and it's at market value of $250,000, maybe even go a little bit lower, $245,000. Then you have a ton of showings. You have 8 showings in the first weekend. You get 2 offers, then you get another offer. Then these offers are bidding each other up. Then ultimately you get someone that will close in 30 days. Maybe they're cash, maybe they're conventional, they're a good loan, they're approved financing, maybe they have a quick inspection, this sort of thing. That doesn't happen when the house has been on the market for 3 months. It happens when the house has been on the market for less than a week. So that's what you need to know when looking at houses, writing offers on houses, and pricing your house when selling your home, is you need to price it accurately at market value so you can have the most negotiating stance as a seller. Now, if you want to know what the market value for your home even is, you'll see it all over online at so many different sites, but that doesn't tell the real story, because it doesn't talk about upgrades, doesn't talk about your competition, doesn't talk about your lot. Those are the things that are not talked about in that number. If you want to see what that real number is, just shoot me an email with your address. We can get something set up where we can talk about it, see what your house is actually worth here in Fargo, North Dakota, to make sure you sell for top dollar if you ever consider selling your home. Now, this next step is another big one. This is where it finally goes live. So go live on the MLS, go live on Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. Everywhere your house will go live online. This is where people will see it. Obviously, schedule showings, have open houses. Just be flexible, because that first 7 to 10 days when it's on the market That is where the most traffic is going to be at your property. Traffic online, traffic actually in your house with people coming through, and traffic at open houses. That's where it all is. It's in that first 7 to 10 days, which goes right back to a couple steps ago where we talked about price, where if you price it super high, you're not going to get as much action as if you price at market value right when you go on the market. Now the next one is very essential because it's the offers, it's the money. You get offers on your house, you need to be able to negotiate those offers and negotiate them up against each other, or even if it's one offer, negotiate it up, come to terms on price, because there's a lot more terms of an offer and price of an offer other than price. You know, there is commissions, there's purchase price, there's earnest money, there's inspections, there's appraisals, there's financing, there's seller concessions. There's so many different terms in an offer that you need to know how to negotiate it, to navigate it properly, to negotiate against the buyer, to negotiate for the seller. There's a million different terms with reading offers and knowing how to adapt to those situations, which is one of the most essential parts when getting the most amount of money for your home possible. That's why it's very important you have someone that knows how to negotiate on your side when you're selling your home. And you want to compare all the offers you do get and compare them carefully, because you never know what something might be hiding in an offer when you're selling your house here in Fargo, North Dakota. Next up, let's say you accept an offer. All right, you accepted an offer. Let's say it's going to be a typical offer, a 30-day close. They'll do an inspection, they'll do an appraisal. Okay, so what happens in the first couple days is, you'll sign the papers of the purchase agreement, say, yep, we accept this, and the buyers will have earnest money deposited, likely to a trust fund at a title company or a real estate brokerage, where this is just money that is held in that account until closing. This just shows that the buyers are serious about the property, and this just shows you as a seller that, okay, yep, they're serious, they're giving us that money. This money can be protected through inspections or appraisals depending on how the offer is structured. So let's say, for example, someone finds out during the inspection that, the foundation is messed up, it's going to be way too much money to fix, the buyers don't want to buy it anymore. The buyers can back out and they will get that earnest money back. Now, if it's not contingent on inspection, the buyer backs out, you as the seller get to keep that earnest money. So it's kind of keeping both the parties in line, but it's protected through the contingencies of the offer, which is another part of negotiating, is how to get rid of those contingencies in the best case scenario possible. So you got to keep that in mind. But with all of that, earnest money is deposited, usually within 3 to 5 days of an offer being accepted, and then the buyer is in that inspection period, which will go right to our next step, which is the inspection. So the buyer will likely, most of the time, have an inspector come through the house, look through it for 2 hours. They'll look at the HVAC, the foundation, the systems in the house, the amenities, and the washer, dryer, all that sort of thing. They'll look at everything in the house just to determine, they know what they're buying, they know what they're getting into when they're buying it, just to be safe. So through this inspection, you'll actually have another point of negotiation after the inspection of maybe the buyers want you to fix something, they want you to furnace the service, they want you furnace the service the furnace, they want you to do this, they want you to do that. That's that second point of negotiation. There's always 3 points of negotiation. You'll have the first one, the initial offer. So that was the step before. Now we're at the next step, which is the inspection period. So once it gets through the inspection, let's say the inspection's all good, buyers, ask for some little things. You're like, oh, yep, we'll do that as a seller. This is where you get to pending, and you're pending upon appraisal and financing. So this is the third point of negotiation, which is the appraisal. So what the appraisal is the bank of the lender of the buyer will send out a third-party appraiser out there just to determine the value of the property, so the buyer isn't paying more than the property's worth, but mainly for the bank isn't giving a loan for more than the property's worth in case it does go to foreclosure. So that's an appraisal. Obviously, if the appraisal comes back low, it comes back high, it doesn't matter if it comes back high, but if it comes back low, that's another point of renegotiation. Then also, depending on the loan program for that buyer, there may be some repairs or fixes that need to be updated. The big one is just chipping paint, like on the outside of a house with either a VA or an FHA loan. That will be flagged on appraisal. So repairs like that, maybe the appraisal came in a little bit low. That's that third point negotiation when you're selling your house. So you're through the first two, purchase agreement, accepted offer, inspection, then you're through the appraisal. But if you're after all that, you're good to go. That's where the buyer goes through their final loan commitment, loan estimates. That is what happens after that step of the appraisal. So this gets us to our 9th step, which is the final walkthrough and getting ready for closing. So the title company will be doing all their work in the background, checking title, make sure you own it, there's no liens, that sort of thing. The buyer will also be doing their due diligence, getting all financing in order, getting that clear to close from the lender 3 to 6 days before closing, making sure they're ready to go, making sure everybody's ready to sign all the papers at the closing table. Then the buyers will likely do a final walkthrough. This is just the night before closing or the day of closing. Just check, make sure everything's still in the same condition. If there's any fixes that need to be done, make sure those fixes are complete. Then next up, last step, 10th step, is the closing day. So you as a seller, go to the title company, sign papers for 20 minutes, then you'll get a check with the proceeds from selling your house here in Fargo, North Dakota. And then that's it. You can move on into your next house, depending on your situation or whatever you want to do. And if you're considering selling your house or buying a house here in Fargo, North Dakota, you can check out all my contact information, which will be all in the description below.